Okay, so little different setup because we have a couple people here. Yeah. Needed a couple people here because of the bomb that I'm going to be dropping, and I want to hear what everybody has to say. So chances are you have not heard about this. It's something that you do need to hear about, especially as a parent or a grandparent. So first question I'm going to ask is, has anybody ever heard of Roblox?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
See? I knew. Okay. Tell me, Christopher, what it is.
I don't know a lot about Roblox. I know it's a gaming platform that is very a lot of kids are on it. That's their whole market. And one sec, Mer. There were people on Roblox, maybe this is what you're about to say, but there were people on Roblox that were they were child predators, and there were people catching these child predators, and then long story short, I believe Roblox sent them a cease and desist or something along those lines.
Dang.
Yeah.
I also heard pretty much the same thing about Roblox, but I've also heard that there's now a function where you can sell your soul to the devil
There's also
on Roblox.
I think there was a dating thing in the works for Roblox too at one point.
And again, this is all stuff that we would have to go like deep dive and see if it's real or not, but I saw an article where someone said that there's now like a function where you can sell your soul to advance further in the game if you don't have the like.
This just got crazier.
Yeah.
The other thing is too with Roblox though is that there's a lot of player created stuff in there.
Yeah.
It's not just the company that makes all that stuff.
Right.
Well, and every age can be on there because you can just easily. Hi. You can easily just click, oh, I'm of 18 or whatever, and you could be any single age.
I thought that you would help us to understand that.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
anybody can say
man.
anything, and that's just it. It's open for everybody.
Yeah.
So what I found out today that a doctor, let's use Dr. James Ashworth from Everything. I learned that Miranda can edit things in, so I have a whole lot of content that she's going to pop in, and you're going to be able to read it, where he's from, what his credentials are. So I found out that there is a Love Your Mind World. You're going to see the picture on here pretty quick about what that looks like. It's very child-centered, and it has been developed by this psychologist as well as a whole plethora of other people. So the lady that is trying to blow the whistle on this has said, do you understand that they are using I've got notes because I want to make sure I get everything right. Governor Cox has which is in Utah. This is all coming back. In Utah, he has a mental health initiative to use AI bots online on gaming platforms, and the gaming platform that they are most robust on is Roblox. There is no way to even understand who's counseling these kids because the AI bots are roving on there. What are the algorithms? In my mind, all I see is a big monster that is algorithm and children walking into its mouth. So when you're letting your children be on these platforms, what made me think of this is you're going to see this picture as well. We get to see the alleged shooter of Charlie Kirk at 10 years old in a picture that his mom said now he's all set up to not hear anything I ever say again or something like that.
Set up to avoid us all the time.
Forever, yeah.
Yep.
Like that,
And he's got his headphones on and he's sitting in front of his laptop.
So sad.
And
Eating junk food.
yeah, he did.
At a very young age.
He was 10 years old.
Yeah.
So now there are roving AI bots that are on Roblox that have excuse me, that have been programmed. What their algorithms are, we don't know. Nobody is being transparent about that, but we do know that they have somehow are being able to seek out the children that could potentially be struggling with their sexuality so that they can come alongside them and offer AI therapy.
That's insane.
AI therapy. So informed consent. Who consented? If you're popping your 7, 8, 9-year-old in front of a computer thinking that it's just playing fun games, did anybody hear that there were the Roblox has the Christopher said the words the uploads that are games that other people created. Player created content. So after Charlie's assassination, did any of you know that Roblox had several games that were put up where you are the shooter and you too could shoot Charlie Kirk?
That doesn't
Doesn't
surprise
surprise
me
me
at
at
all.
all.
And they were taking it down, and then another one went up. Taking it down, and another one went up. So children then are becoming the shooter so that they too can kill Charlie Kirk.
What kind of craziness are we putting in our kids' minds if you put an assassination of a real person as something you can play as a game? It's not a game. That's real life. And to be putting that as something that you can play as a game is just desensitizing children younger and younger to the violence that truly is what exactly happened to Charlie Kirk, and that it's okay and that it's not as gruesome and horrible as it actually is in real life. The fact of the matter is it's not something that a child should see. It's not something that a child should be playing in a game. And honestly, watching the real video as an adult, I'm almost 30 years old. I watched it as an adult, and it will stick with me for the rest of my life.
Yep.
It is the most horrific thing I have seen in my entire life. And to put that on a video game for a child to play and then think that that's funny or okay, and I understand that it's not necessarily the game itself or the creators doing it, but there are people out there, and that's what I think is important, is to understand that there are people out there that are putting this crap on games that kids play because they think it's funny and they are evil and they don't care if they corrupt your children.
And something that you need to understand is there's something that's called trauma bonding. But in order for trauma bonding to happen, which I'll explain to you, first there needs to be a trauma. So a trauma needs to be created in a child's life, and then the adult that wants to bond with them and their trauma and walk them through their trauma will be able to bond with their trauma and then lead them most likely into more confusion about their sexuality. Even because they're not addressing the trauma, they're just addressing, well, I bet you'd feel better if you were a different gender, which I don't believe in that word, sex. And that's something that happened to somebody in our own personal life that she was told when she went to a counselor. Oh, well, you want to kill yourself all the time because you really want to be a boy. You're really supposed to be a boy.
People's mental health against them.
So I looked up something that I've been working on. Not going to get into the details here. People that know. I've worked with legislators and legislation for a few years now. One of the things that I unearthed and brought to legislators that we needed to try to reverse, which we have not been able to reverse in North Dakota yet, FYI. They call anything other than affirmation, they call that conversion therapy. That you're trying to convert the person, if the person is questioning who they are, most likely from a trauma or being led down some strange misdirect in their sexuality. Instead of addressing that, you can only affirm that what they're feeling. Oh, you're feeling like you're a boy? Oh, well, let's start you down that road. And if any medical person or counselor, psychiatrist, psychologist, social worker tries to ask them about their trauma to see if maybe it's that and not that you're actually born in the wrong body, they will lose their license. So that's how they've gotten this through, and Utah is the same. So I asked AI, and all of this you're going to be able to read, so I'm not going to read it all. Dr. Ashworth's beliefs on LGBTQ and conversion therapy. And it says that the HMHI, which is the Huntsman Mental Health Institute, the people that created that Roblox video that game that I told you about, rejects conversion therapy as harmful and unethical. So since they reject conversion therapy, and they're the people that created that game that is out there roving for kids to talk to them about their gender confusion, what do you think? What do you think the AI bots have been programmed to help them with in those situations?
They're just going to affirm everything the same way that states that are outlawing conversion therapy, they're going to do it the same way. Also, side note, back to what Murr was talking about with the desensitizing thing. Did you guys ever, I haven't seen your other videos, did you ever talk about what I told you about Reddit?
No.
Nope.
We did not. I didn't even know about it.
You don't know? Okay.
She told me about it, but I didn't know prior to that.
Oh,
That's all.
okay. So long story short, and it's been around for at least since I was in high school and had a phone and friends that had access to the internet pretty much.
I wouldn't name it though, because that'll inspire people to go look at it maybe. So just say that there is something.
I mean, I'll
What it
explain it, but
does.
if these people are already on Reddit, they're going to find it anyway. That's just
true.
how Reddit is. Long story short, there was this place you could go on Reddit, and what it was a compilation of a bunch of different videos pretty much, and you'd click on one, and then it would be some gruesome thing, gore, whatever. I never watched it. I had friends that watched it, said it was nasty. And so they would just progressively get worse and worse pretty much. And so when I mentioned to one of my friends that had watched it about the shooting of Charlie Kirk, and I said that it made me sick to my stomach, he goes, well, didn't you ever watch the thing on Reddit? I won't say the name. A lot of people my age probably know exactly what I'm talking about. And so, yeah, that's just proof that people are being desensitized, and especially if they're chronically online, like this dude probably was. And I don't know. I don't know how accurate it is, but some of the Reddit things that he supposedly followed are pretty far out there. So, yeah, there's that. There was, what was the other one I told you about that was on Reddit?
Some 50-50.
Oh, yeah, the thing where it was like, it's another thing on Reddit. You click on a video, and it's a 50-50 chance of, you might get like a nice video of kittens or something, or you might get like the nastiest, most gory thing you could possibly think of. And that was another game that people played
Sounds like an awful game.
when I was in, between ages 13 to, I guess, 18 or 19 when I got out of high school and kind of quit talking to people. But
And the sole purpose of that is what, do you think? If you had
desensitization of kids.
And
Yeah.
why do they want to desensitize children, in your opinion?
So that it's a lot easier for them to radicalize them and make them do whatever you want to do.
Yep.
Whatever you want them to do.
Which brings us to Armed Queers, Salt Lake City.
saw that.
that too.
What?
Horrific.
Armed Queers, Salt Lake City. We're going to put this stuff up as well. Sorry, page isn't available anymore. So can't see their page on Facebook. It's been taken down. Can't see it
Stupid.
on Instagram. It is taken down as well.
Here, 1 second. If you're going to put this crap out there, then at least have the metal to leave it up there and not be ridiculous about it and try and hide your crap. That's all I have to say. If you're going to do it, then leave it out there so that people can rail against it and say this is crap and we don't want to see it anymore, instead of trying to hide it all the time.
So they also took down and again, this will be up there for you to see, just screenshots. Our time as 2025 Mayday Brigadistas, Cuba report back, and that was 2 of the leaders from Armed Queers went to Cuba, and Cuba said that it's time for you to go home and make your own revolution, and they had been trained in Cuba to Armed Queers SLC merges armed community defense and LGBTQ activism with anti-imperialism, with the goal of advancing a broader struggle against capitalism and state violence. State violence, really.
What does that even mean?
According to a review of its public social media posts and material. So They got to go to Cuba. They also shot a movie, and all of this was done by taxpayer dollars, you and me, because they got their grant dollars in 2020 when they were founded, and
Height of COVID.
Of course, they were founded in 2020.
and yep, and
Bull crap, man. I'm so over it.
yep. So they got, I believe it was 1.7 million, if I
To
remember
fund
right.
That crap.
Yes,
Our
yes.
taxpayer dollars
Yep.
are going to fund that crap, so they can go to Cuba and then come back to wage war against our country. We're funding people to go to another place and then come back here so that they can then be rioting in the streets and telling us that there's such a thing as state violence. Can anybody tell me what state violence actually is? That doesn't even, that the concept of that makes zero sense. If it were something like, I don't know, like if they're hurting people in the streets, like there's law enforcement hurting people in the streets in specific states, then maybe I could say, oh yeah, sure, then maybe state violence. That's such crap. And what does that even mean? What does that even mean? State violence is a made-up word, just like all the other made-up words that they use and try and cram down our throat as reality. It's not reality.
So Phil Lyman, Lyman, if you want to look him up, he ran for governor of Utah in 2024. He was at the event where Charlie was assassinated. And he said that he's got some questions. He's gone to the FBI with those questions because he heard the bang. He knew that it was a gunshot. People started scattering, but something against normal human nature happened. There were some that didn't scatter. They were just onlookers. And even the trained military people, when you're in a crowd, you have a fight or flight. And flight happened for many people except two girls that were right next to him that he said that he won't say what they said because it was full of F, the person that was just assassinated. This is the second that it happened. They were standing up saying this. And then there was another group that was representing LGBTQs, right to his, I want to say left, but I'm not sure. And he said this group also just stood and watched. They didn't even hesitate, didn't even try to run. And he said, anybody that understands behavior is going to say that that is out of the norm unless they had no fear of a mass shooting. If you don't have a fear of a mass shooting, you're going to just stand around. You're going to figure, oh, got the target. That means there's a foreknowledge. And that needs to be investigated as well. And these people were a part of the armed queers that I was just talking about. And of course, they took down everything up after the shooting happened. So there's a radicalization that's happening. Our children are being destroyed. And this is going to sound harsh, but parents are complicit in this. If you're putting your child in front of a game on a computer, they have algorithms to find children that have had trauma. They are creating trauma by some of the games. They also have algorithms that can seek out children on the spectrum as well. So there are parents out there that have children on the spectrum that their child could probably be driving them bonkers, and I feel for you. But don't put them in front of a computer and in front of Roblox and go, okay, I can take a break now. It's can't.
Not just Roblox either. It's not just Roblox. That's all I'm going to say is like Roblox is the one we're talking about, but it is not the only one out there. It's other things as well. Like he was talking about Reddit. They could get on Reddit. They could start looking at stuff. They could go down a rabbit hole. The internet is not a safe place. It never has been. And to be naive and believe that it's something that's safe to put in front of your kids is crazy. Seriously. Even if you have parental locks on, there are ways around it. People find ways to come through the back door of things and make it so that they can circumvent parental locks, circumvent things like that you think is in place to keep your child safe. I would bet most anything that there's a way that they can get around that. Just don't even tempt fate to do that to your children. Keep them offline. That's my one piece of advice. Don't let your children online until they're far older than 10, 12, 13. Like that's crazy. Your kids shouldn't be online unsupervised, especially at that young of an age. It's a little different once they get to like 16, 17, 18, that might be a little bit different. But even then, as long as you possibly can, keep them offline, especially gaming, and especially sitting somewhere in their own room with a computer. They might have a computer that they've made specifically for gaming, but that also opens up the door for them to get on Reddit, to get on these sub-threads of stuff, and go down these crazy rabbit holes that absolutely destroys their mind. It's just brain rot. Don't let them even have the opportunity. That's my piece of advice.
I concur entirely on that. However, I will say, if you do have any kids that are into gaming, the consoles are safer, but not obviously 100%, but a lot safer than a computer is, because on a console, you can still access the internet through a web browser and stuff, but it's a lot harder to get places that you shouldn't be. And I was watching this guy on YouTube, and he's got a son. He's probably in his mid-30s, I would say. And pretty much what he said was his son is growing up with the same games that he grew up with. So he's got, like, his son can play on a PS2 or the older Game Boys, like a Game Boy. I don't know if Game Boy Color's, I don't know. Anyway, an older Game Boy, stuff like that. So there's always alternatives as well.
Another thing too, that if these kids are, watching a movie or doing whatever on a appliance, don't keep them isolated. Yeah. A lot of bad stuff happens when a child is isolated, and that's just everyday life with not just electronics. Like, even if they're playing toys by themselves.
Phones, that's the other thing. Don't give your kids phones.
Good Lord, yeah.
I'll give it back, but don't give your kids your phone either, or give them a phone of their own. It doesn't matter if it doesn't have service, if it doesn't have whatever, it doesn't matter. They can get on Wi-Fi, and these kids are smarter than you give them credit for. These kids will figure it out. They'll get online. It doesn't matter. They'll use the neighbor's Wi-Fi if it's not unlocked. They'll use your Wi-Fi, a restaurant's Wi-Fi. Do not give them a smartphone. And honestly, we should be going back to family computers in a family room. Your children should not be sitting in a room by themselves, unsupervised, with any sort of electronics at all. No, absolutely not. None of us did. He did when he got older, but that was far different than...
That was on a PS3.
It was on a PS3. This was
barely when
we barely... Yeah.
When gaming and the internet connected.
We're not, in this age of the newer consoles and things, you can get online a lot easier. Like, we came up with PS1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. And by the time he was playing in his room by himself, I think it was like a PS3, which didn't have much internet capabilities anyway.
But did all your friends have phones when you
Oh,
didn't?
yeah. My friends, all of our friends had phones. All of our friends had, all the stuff that is being given to kids now that ruins the kids and warps their mind and impacts the trajectory of their life. And I will be so bold to say that it does that, because it 100% does. We've witnessed it ourselves firsthand with family and with friends. And it is the most heartbreaking thing. And the hardest part is, once it happens, it is so hard to come back from. So don't even open the door. Not even a hint. Look up that Bible verse. I lived by that my whole teens into my adulthood. I believe it's Ephesians. I don't remember the exactly verse and number, but look it up, and for real, don't even tempt it.
Again, I don't have anything to add, but I will say... again, I'll come out with the alternatives, because a lot of people talk about, if my kid doesn't have a phone, how are they gonna contact me? Abigail and I were just talking about this, and I said I will go on Straight Talk and I'll get a landline for our house. You can still do that.
100%.
It's not a landline per se, because it doesn't actually run underground. It still runs off towers, but it works exactly the same as a landline. And there's also, like you said, the option of track phones. I remember when I had first had a phone, it was that little tiny one with T9.
Yeah, me too.
And it didn't even have like an LCD screen.
It was a pink Nokia flip phone with T9.
Mine was that silver one, silver on the front,
Yeah.
black on the back.
and
It was
and
that
I could
little
play
thing.
the snake game on it.
Yeah, that's all we had was the
That
snake
was
game.
it.
But if
It'll
you needed me at football,
You can call.
Yeah.
Again, so there's
And
always
here-
alternatives.
Here's the other thing I'm going to say too is, oh, well, my kid's at school. My kid does this activity, that activity, this, that, the other. Sure, your kid's at school, but guess what the school has? The school always has an office that your child can go in and say, I need to make a call to my mom. If they know your phone number, they can get a hold of you. And they can also call you off of their friends' phones, because I guarantee you someone in their friend group probably has a phone. Your kid doesn't need one. And if they're in sports and things like that, and they need to get a hold of you and say it's great that their other friends don't have a phone, fantastic. Ask to use the coach's phone. There are so many other alternatives that you don't need to give your child a phone. But if it truly comes to it, and like the rule that was in our home when we were growing up and starting to drive is, as soon as you got your license, you were allowed to have a flip phone in case of emergency when you were driving. So if it comes to that point, go the flip phone route where they can't get on this crap with like smartphones, and they can make calls, they can send T9 texts, but they can't go on the internet. I mean, you could, but it was not the internet that you have today on a smartphone. The alternatives are plentiful, and there are options if you truly care about your child and want to make sure that they're safe.
I'm gonna backtrack a second.
Rewind.
Yeah.
This is how family conversations go.
We're getting
Right.
pranked.
So what I was gonna say was, when I was growing up, I was one of the kids that had a phone, and it did not go well. No matter whose it was mine. It was my friends around me. It was my dad's at some point. Just everybody let me be on their phone, or we'd have access to the internet. And whenever we wanted to, I had a neighbor, and I was friends with her kid. We got into everything. And realistically, we didn't have that discipline that we needed from our parents. We didn't have structure. We didn't have anything that these kids should have. So I strongly am with the no phones for kids, because I've lived it. I've lived through that pain, that forever recovering from what you see, still learning how to forget some of the stuff that I saw as a kid, and I'm 23. I have seen lots of stuff. On my little flip phone, I could actually access, I couldn't watch anything, but I could still see pictures. I could still see what the was going to portray.
Wow.
And it was like one of those little tiny phones. Like it was just,
Maybe use corn instead of the actual pea.
Oh, she asked, yeah. We can
Oh.
say prawn too.
Just bleep it out.
yeah,
Yep.
we'll just bleep it out.
I don't know how to figure it
You'll
out.
figure it out.
So yes, long story short, I'll keep it quick. Don't give your kids access to anything. It's just better off, personally. I've lived it, like I said.
The last one that I'll say before I give it back to Mom is iPads is another big one. People are giving iPads to their kids to keep them busy. It's even so much so that people are calling them iPad kids, because that's all they do is sit on their iPad. They want their iPad. Well, guess what? iPad has internet, and there are alternatives to that as well. You can get them a Leap Pad. I had a Leap Pad when I was a kid. I have family members with kids that have Leap Pads.
Do you remember the Turbo Twist? Sorry. Totally off topic. Do you remember the Turbo Twist? It had like the math games, and you'd like
Yep.
it had
Yeah.
the lens that twisted. That thing
Yeah.
was so cool.
There's
Sorry.
that. Well, that's
was a
good though.
Leapfrog product.
Is
Yeah.
it's Leapfrog, and the pad itself is called a Leap Pad, and there are different cartridges that go into it that play different games. You can do it for education, you can do it for just games that you want to play. Doesn't matter. But there are other options where it's
You control the content.
exactly it's cartridge based.
It works like a DS.
Yeah.
Pretty much exactly the same.
And then instead of having them on an iPad, you can give them this Leap Pad that is designed for children with cartridges. And like she said, you control what they're allowed to do, and it will keep them just as busy, because I literally would sit and play my Leap Pad for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours.
And I would steal your Leap Pad, and you get mad at me.
And then he'd steal my Leap Pad, and I'd be mad because I wanted to play Frogger.
Okay, so we're going to wind down with a little bit of talking from my 1950 abnormal psych book, which Kevin, I remember you said you wanted the info on this, so I will PM it to you tonight. I'm done with the revisionist history of everything. I'm done with the pushing tolerance and making that a thing, pushing gender and making that a thing. There are 2 sexes, there are 0 genders, and there are hundreds of personalities. Personalities now have disappeared because everybody calls something a gender. So I wanted to go back before Dr. Money, which I told you about him yesterday. Well, I referenced him, and wanted to see what did they talk about sexual deviancies in a book before 1960. And so I found one from 1950. Remember, people think that just because it's 1950, oh, that's so far back, people didn't know much then. Nope, they knew a lot then. They knew a whole lot. But a lot of stuff started getting twisted in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. So we need to go back to what we knew before and what they knew. And when we know what they know, and then we see what's happening today, that's a confirmation to me that it's being done on purpose. That's the importance of this. Deviancies are perhaps, this is a college level book, 1950. Deviations are perhaps most often due to faulty differentiation and development in the long process of growing up and learning to find one's place in society. With our increasing realization of the importance, I'm going to say that again, importance. With our increasing realization of the importance of psychological factors in the development of our sexual patterns, attention has centered on the ways in which a child develops his conception of masculinity and femininity. Yeah, isn't that something? And learns to identify with the role society expects him to play. The long process of differentiation in sexual potentialities starts in earliest infancy with our common tendencies to dress little girls in frilly clothes, give them dolls to play with, and expect them to be sweet, gentle creatures while we encourage a boy to be tough, active physically, interested in sports and mechanical gadgets, and a better fighter than the boy next door. So I'll preface everything else that goes in there. So it said, if you do anything to interrupt that process, and they even say from 2 to 9, that region, if you do anything to interrupt that process, if you don't dress little girls frilly, if you don't let boys play with trucks, if they don't go along with the social norms and see the social norms, they will question their place in society. And that messes up their ability to identify with. So what are we using? We're using, and remember, they need to see masculine and feminine. Masculinity and femininity. Masculinity, toxic masculinity. Femininity, no, shouldn't be that anymore. You got to be you're a girl boss. You're a girl boss.
I'm in my masculine era. Why?
Exactly.
Been there, but also why?
And identify. So you can identify as whatever you want. So all of those concrete things that they said were important in 1950, and they knew the importance of the development of children ages 2 to 9 in those social norms, which they call a social construct nowadays. You can choose your gender. You're truly a man. Do you understand how absolutely insane that sounds when you hear the reality of what we knew to be true in 1950 from the medical community? I'm not talking religion here. That's the medical community. And they also said, so where do sexual deviancies come from? And transvesticism is what they called it, is a deviancy. They said that any interruption in that 2 to 9 that once you've interrupted a child in that development stage, you can force any sexually deviant outcome that you choose.
It's like an experiment.
Yeah.
They knew that in 1950. We're watching it today.
Here's the problem. The issue is you end up with this information, which at the beginning is good information to have because you are able to then prevent those things from happening. But the flip side of that, which is the sad part of the world that we live in because it is a fallen world, there are people who want to use that and weaponize it, which is exactly what we're seeing in society now. I would bet anything that there were scientist groups that experimented on, if you do this, this is how it turns out. If you do this, that's how it turns out. If we want this outcome, this is what we do to these kids. And they have narrowed it down to a science, and that is exactly what we are seeing today in society. Put on your tinfoil hat, I guess, because that's exactly what people are going to say, but it is the absolute truth in my opinion, and I think everybody's opinion sitting here. Mm-hmm. So putting it out there, take it with a grain of salt if you want to, but it is, in my opinion, the truth. And the other thing that I was going to say is to tie this back into the Bible and God, which is our number one reason for being here anyway, is to preach the gospel and get God out to more people and to help people wake up. We had a sermon on Sunday, great sermon, and it spoke about, I don't remember the book or the exact verse, but you will, and it's, okay, tell them the verse.
I don't remember the exact verse, but I know it was Matthew, and it was the passage about having faith as if you're a child.
Well, that was part of it, but I'm talking the one where you should tie a millstone around your neck.
Oh,
if you,
is it 1 through 6?
Matthew chapter 6.
Chapter 6, what's the verse?
Yeah, I don't remember the verse.
People can Google.
Yeah.
And they'll find it.
Yeah, go ahead and Google it. But the verse that I'm talking about says that if you basically are corrupting children or taking their innocence, that you might as well, it's better for you to tie a millstone around your neck and throw yourself in the ocean. And that's what I want to say and leave you with, is that passage, because it's the truth. And the choice to do nothing or the choice to be a passive parent is still a choice, and it's still a choice that you have to answer for when you meet your maker. Take that whichever way you want to do, but I'm just telling you the truth of the matter, that is what the Bible says, that's what we are told, and the choices you make as you raise your children, which are precious to God, is very, very important.
I'll end with guard your children's hearts. That's in Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy is the second law, 5th book of the Bible. Read Deuteronomy. If you haven't read a Bible in a long time, find one.
Dust it off.
Yep.
Find one. Buy one.
50 always has them.
There you go. Read Deuteronomy chapter 6. Guard your child's heart. And it also tells you what you need to do with your children morning, noon, and night. And that you write the truth on their hearts. You write it on the doorpost of your home. You speak it to them in the morning. You speak it to them at night. Your children have one chance in this world. And it's hard to guard their hearts in a fallen world. And I had 3 hearts to guard, and I knew that was my most important purpose in my life, was to guard their hearts and grow warriors. Not just children, warriors, because we are in a battle. There is a battle for them every day. Evil wants to take them every day. So I needed to raise up warriors. You guard your children and then you raise up warriors. Don't even think about what their friends have and they don't have, because I went through that too. I you know what? Look, she lived. He lived. Amanda lived. They didn't get what did I hear flack? But they have it. Sucks for you then that I'm your mother. You know what?
I'm the mother.
That's exactly what you said.
Yeah.
It is exactly what I said.
That's just you said. No, that's what you said.
So, you know what? Hate me.
But
but I guarded their hearts.
And how many of your children thanked you for that as adults?
All of them.
All of us did. And I still 100,000 times would thank my mom over and over and over again for the way that we were raised. Was it hard growing up and being the weird kid? Yeah, it kind of was sometimes, but not really, because you're only weird for the only couple interactions that you have, and then it's over. So like, it's weird in the moment, and people are kind of like give you a funny look sometimes, but by the end of it, you live and you're better for it because it builds character in you. And I would never ever change that in a million years, not once. And the other thing I was going to say when you were talking about that is, we've all three of your children have gone through really hard times, dark, deep times when the enemy definitely was trying to take us out, wanted us to go under and be done. And each and every one of your children came back from that and came back stronger in their faith, even more so than they were before, and had an even more personal relationship with God. But that would not have happened if the foundation would not have been laid by our mother and going to church and having those things put in our heart so that we had the foundation to fall back on. If you don't give your kids a foundation, they have nothing to fall back on. They have no tools. And you are setting your child up to fail, and you're setting your child up to fall into the traps that the enemy sets, because he will set them, and they will have no tools to see that the trap is set, or if they're falling into the trap, they have no tools to get back out.
And parents are placing traps into their children's hands with a phone and a laptop and an iPad. The predators and the enemy are right there, and you are the one that's facilitating it and paying for it so that you can have them out of your hair for a little while. And I'm done keeping my mouth shut on that. You're going to hear me talk about that until the end of time because I know too much. When we go into long form, I'll
This is already kind of long.
yeah, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I'll let you know what I know.
Yeah.
So I used to encourage people to guard their children's hearts. Now I'm ordering you. Order you. It's dangerous out there. You must get those smartphones out of their hands. They don't need them. They don't need them. Give them a flip phone.
Yep.
And everything that I'm learning about the online gaming is frightening. Online period is
And it only
frightening.
gets worse.
We wonder, I looked up the statistics of how many youth identified in the LGBT or LGBT community
Mafia.
in 2010, and they said 7%. Today it's 27%. That's not by accident.
20% increase.
It doesn't have a 20% increase unless somebody is training it into your kids.
And if
So-
it's not you, it's somebody else.
So keep giving them a phone and keep letting them be online, and your child's going to be a part of that statistic as well. These are not things that just naturally happen. They lie to you. It's not natural. It is not natural. It's being trained in to your children. There are traumas that are happening to your children, and other people are bonding with them and then steering them away from their parents, so their parents no longer have any voice in their child's life.
Yep.
And law is now on that predatory side instead of parents.
Exactly.
So the best you can do is scoop them up and
Keep them safe.
protect them.
I'm done.
And this is the last thing I have to say too. Before this video goes up, you'll have seen a video from me just on my own from today when I was reading in my Bible. And go read Proverbs 1 verse 4. You can read the whole verse or the whole Proverbs 1. But specifically verse 4 is what I'm talking about. And it talks about our duty to be shrewd with the morally naive. And that is where this comes from. This comes from a place of duty, and it's a duty that we don't put on ourselves. It's a duty that God charges his warriors with and charges his followers with. It's our job to speak on things we see and to help show the truth to people who are naive to the truth, or maybe just are so busy they don't see it. But if you see a video, it's a little bit easier than trying to do all this research yourself. So it comes from a place of love and care for you and your kids, and wanting to make sure that you have the information that we have so that you can make informed decisions. And that's where this shrewdness, is what I'm going to call it, comes from.
Share the video with as many people as you can to get that information out, and we're going to have Abigail end it.
I just thought of something as we were talking about how it's very easy for the devil to get into somebody's heart and mind if they are not protected. And I know that Mur was just talking about getting watching the videos for education instead of doing the research yourself. One thing that helped me a lot with this journey is a movie that Mom and I watched a year ago when it came out by Robbie Starbuck, and it's called The War on Children.
Yep.
That movie flipped my whole mindset on children's protection and how to do that, how to protect them. This movie is very easy to understand. I'm kind of going to drag myself for a second, but I understood it, and I don't understand things the way that everybody else does. And it stuck to me. I still remember certain verbiage. I still remember social contagion, stuff like that. And it would be a very, very good movie to watch. Do not watch it around children, though, or anybody that's still very impressionable, because there's some stuff that's shown and talked about that could easily influence them negatively. That's all I got to say, and I think it's very important.
Christopher's going to end it.
I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna try and keep it short and sweet. Obviously, like everyone here has been saying, it's important to keep an eye on your kids and what they're looking at and getting into. But as a reminder, don't forget to check your own internet activity. Yep. Check what you're watching, how often you're on it. I mean, being online nonstop is only going to make you feel like garbage a lot of the time. So go out, touch grass, get healthy, get fit, find some kind of purpose, read your Bible daily. That's all I have to say.
Amen.
Share, comment. If you have questions, please put them in the comments. We'd love to answer them. And thanks for watching. We love you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.